Would you sing We Shall Overcome with me, please? We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. The truth will make us free. Truth will make us free. Truth will make us free. Truth will make us free someday. How deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We are not afraid today. We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are not afraid today. How deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. How deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday.
Good morning. My name is Laura Snow, and I'm a member of the board of this congregation. Welcome to you all. Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Elkhart is a welcoming community, encouraging religious freedom, nurturing individual spiritual and ethical growth, celebrating diversity, and promoting a just and sustainable world. This is our mission statement. If you would like to learn more about this fellowship, please look at our website, uufe.org, and join us after the service for our coffee hour. I believe we've got some extra treats from our celebration yesterday. For the listening enjoyment of all, We ask you at this time to please turn your cell phones to off or to vibrate. And if you need hearing support, please see the gentleman at the sound desk for help. Thank you. And at this time, I have no fellowship life announcements. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it is a thing. So.
We are going to have Xander and Oliver from the religious education program come on up, and they are going to help to introduce our service project that we have in the works.
Hi, my name is Oliver. I'm here today representing the UUFE Children's Group to help present our service project. As a group, we voted and chose to help Potawatomi Zoo animals. Slide 2. We are choosing to help the zoo because we love animals and it allows us to practice our seventh principle. We believe in caring for our planet Earth and every living thing that shares it with us.
We will purchase items for the Potawatomi Zoo's Amazon wish list so that we can provide them with things that will help the animals and others and help them care for the animals. We would like to purchase for the zoo. We would like to purchase a back scratcher, bells and whistles, a bubble machine, a carrot feeder, a DVD player, food flavoring oil, a hiding rock, a mat type slow feeder, and spices.
This slide begins by showing items we believe will be helpful to the zoo and wish to purchase and donate. As Xander stated, a DVD player, hiding rock, bubble machine, food flavoring oil, carrot ball feeder, and back scratcher.
Their feeding mat, bells and whistles, and then spices. How much money do we need to raise? The things we want to buy from the wish list add up to a total of $278 with tax. How would we raise the money? We would like to gather donations in church, have a bake sale, and take online donations.
Lion drawn by fellow UUFE Children's Group member. Slide 10. Giraffe drawn by fellow UUFE Children's Group member. Slide 13. Yes. And then what? And then the one on the left you see is giraffe drawn by fellow UUFE Children's Group member, and then the one on the right is a dog drawn by a fellow UUFE Children's Group member.
Good job, guys. So here is our donation box. We are going to have this out in the front entryway so that you can make donations for our cause. If you didn't hear, it is an Amazon wish list that the zoo, they picked out these items, the zoo members did, and then the kids chose which of the items on their Amazon wish list they wanted to get. So that's where all of those things came from, if it seemed kind of random and strange. That's what the zoo picked out, and then that's what we picked out. So the kids are excited to raise the money, and thank you for helping with our cause.
Love that our kids want to help our fellow creatures. I'm going to switch it up. I know I put ring the gong before the chalice lighting, but I want to light the chalice first. Our chalice lighting is by Erica Hewitt. The chalice, is a symbol of Unitarian Universalism, arose as a beacon of hope in an atmosphere of tyranny. The chalice arose again as a sign of promise that a marginalized would neither be forgotten nor ignored, because they are beloved and precious from the perspective of the holy. This morning we remember all people who have been told explicitly or implicitly through police violence or government policy, through diversion or dehumanization, that they are anything less than whole, anything less than beloved. As we each light a chalice in our homes, in our meetings, may we make our lives a beacon, a symbol of our promise to draw the circle wide, a sign that we will not resist until all means all. We ring the gong 3 times, once for those who came before us and made a place for us. Once for those who are here now. And once for those that will come after us and build on the dream. If you will join me in our unison covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant. And may our lovely RE be excused to learn a different experience. And if you will join me in singing hymn 113, Where is Our Holy Church? Stand if you're willing and able.
Praise and bless you, Lord.
In true protest fashion, we finished a cappella. This week's offering will be going entirely to the UUFE Sustainability Fund. Please give and receive generously. When I read over this message, I was a little hesitant because it's heavy work. It's heavy work that we, as a body of believers across our nation, struggle with. And it's something that we continue to struggle with regardless of the fights that generations have endured. Step 1. Invoke an external and internal threat. Pose it as a threat to civilization itself. Create a sense of overwhelming crisis beyond the reach of any traditional solution. Insist that the leader's superior instinct and access to privileged knowledge are more reliable than universal reason. Step 2. Establish secret prisons. Suspend due judicial process and the right to habeas corpus, if only for certain sectors of the population. Establish military tribunals side by side with civilian courts. Establish a policy of necessary state-sanctioned torture, and let these all measures quietly be made public. Confound the public understanding of human rights and civil rights. Step 3. Develop a paramilitary force. Deploy mercenaries abroad and encourage domestic intimidation at election sites and public demonstrations, for example. Step 4. Watch ordinary citizens. Monitor private correspondence, telephone and electronic networks, and hubs of information such as libraries and schools. Make it known that to place your name on a petition or list of supporters or donors to a cause may suggest subversion. Step 5. Infiltrate citizens groups. Intimidate grassroots organizations. Encumber free assembly. Step 6. Arbitrarily detain and release citizens. Establish list of citizens under suspicion. Step 7. Target key individuals. monitor the speech and activity of popular figures, college and university facility, artists, progressive religious leaders, and their institutions. Step 8. Restrict the access of the press. Threaten journalists with prison at home and violence abroad. Flood the media with misinformation. Step 9. Cast criticism as espionage and dissent as treason. Step 10. Subvert the rule of law. Naomi Wolf is a journalist and author who has studied the ways that totalitarianism regimes and fascist governments typically move and come to power. She enumerates these in the steps above. Like many historians, she concludes that most often it is not in a thunderous, violent coup that open societies have been eclipsed and dictatorships arisen, though this kind of action may be the final straw. Rather, she says, repression tends to creep in quietly, stealthily, on muffled paws, with no single action, however oppressive, likely by itself to alarm the general population. From the mid-19th century through the entire 20th century, she says democracies have been overthrown and dictatorships have arisen in countries where the most of these 10 steps have been advanced. In her book, The End of America, Letter of Warning to a Young Patriot, she says she does not mean to imply that the current administration is systematically marching through this checklist, but she does mean to warn that in recent years, our leaders have deliberately, not accidentally, assaulted the premises of the Constitution and freedoms we take so easily for granted that they are to us like air, invisible, have been eroded beyond the possibility of repair in our lifetime. Wolf wrote the book as a gift for a young couple she admires. It took shape as she watched them dance at their wedding. The young woman had been Wolf's student, a gifted writer from Texas. The young man is a Vietnamese American teacher who helps run a national suicide prevention hotline. She says they are the kind of idealistic young Americans who need to lead our nation out of this crisis. It seemed to me they needed one more wedding present, tools to realize and defend their freedom, and means to be sure that their own children would be born in liberty. She opens the book with words from Justice William O. Douglas. As nightfall does not come all at once, neither does oppression. In both instances, there is a twilight when everything remains seemingly unchanged. And it is in such a twilight that we all must be most aware of the change in the air, however slight, lest we become unwitting victims of the darkness. Think of someone you love, dancing, maybe at a wedding, dancing, working, studying, wondering, asking bright questions, and twilight is falling. Think about watching a child you love, or maybe a child you don't even know. Maybe children here in your neighborhood, in the larger community, as you drive by the schools. Think about their future as Americans. Think about them singing when they go to school, as imagine I think they still do. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of pilgrims' pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. What do you think of that? What do you fear on their behalf? This is not the country we grew up in. Their America is different. It's a hard time to be young, but even harder, I think, is to be an ally of the young, knowing what we know, how to instill in them a sense of reliable, durable hope. But not only that, how do we plant in them also a sense of responsibility and proud citizenship? A sense of identity not laced with nationalism, arrogance, and manifest destiny, but graceful identity, not worn with dignity, grounded in open-eyed history. How do we give them a sense of pride, a sense of humility, a sense of great possibility, a sense of belonging as Americans to these United States, the united people of the world? Wolf writes, "We take our American liberty for granted, the way we take our national resources for granted, seeing both rather casually as being magically self-replenishing. We have not noticed how vulnerable either resource is until very late in the game, when systems start to falter. We have been slow to learn that liberty, like nature, demands a relationship with us in order for it to continue to sustain us. Most of us have only a faint understanding of how societies open up or close down, become supportive of freedom or ruled by fear. One reason for our vagueness about how liberty lives or dies is that we have tended lately to subcontract out the tasks of the patriot, to let the professionals, lawyers, scholars, activists, politicians, worry about understanding the Constitution and protecting our rights. The way we hire a professional to do our taxes. They can keep democracy up and running. We're busy. What kind of relationship do we want our children to have with liberty? What kind of relationship do we intend to have with it ourselves? Tapped into the wall of my computer is a color photo clipped from the Star Tribune, a close-up of two women at the Minneapolis airport. One, with her back to the camera, is holding a baby. The other is wearing handcuffs and a face of abject anguish. She reaches for the baby with tissues in her hand, sobbing, and caption reads, "Before she was to be deported and flown to Nicaragua, Nadia Valisilio pleaded with Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents to remove her handcuffs so she could hold her son Jared. Immigration agents arrested her in a house that night, and they almost took her away before she could tell them that the baby was there, asleep in his crib. The two were taken to the airport where Nadia was informed that though she must leave the country, her son, who was a U.S. citizen, could stay. But to whom? She asked. And they were both flown to New York, where they were separated because the baby didn't have a passport to continue to New York. To Managua. In the last moment before the plane left, someone intervened and a temporary stay was granted. And many hours later, Nadia and Jared were flown back to Minnesota and returned to their house. There they will remain until the baby's passport has been issued, and then, at any moment, without warning, her deportation process will begin again. There are a legion, factory workers, gardeners, nannies, cooks, construction workers, neighbors. Many are afraid to go to work for fear that they may be taken while their children are at school. Many are afraid to go home for fear their children may have said something inadvertently to the wrong person about their undocumented status. This wave of terror is almost imperceptible to the wide majority of us, the white majority of us. It doesn't really touch us, so we imagine, not yet. Who belongs here? Who doesn't? And who says so? And why? I look at Nadia Velasilio in her handcuffs in the airport, crying for her child, and wonder what exactly is the threat that she poses. On the scale of yellow, orange, red alerts, where do she and baby Jared fall? A big sign flashing on the road to the airport urges us all to report suspicious activity. I can think of a few things more suspect than taking a mother who is not a criminal from her infant by force in the middle of the night and deporting her to a country from which she may never be able to return to see him or hold him or mother him again. Why are we afraid of her? An immigration issue is about economics. It has always been, and it's about security. It has always been. But at its core, it's about fear and racism and power and manipulation. It appeals to base and ancient instincts deep within us, not only that primal fear of the other, but also that even more irrational fear of change, loss, and loss of control. Loss of the known world, America the beautiful. Nadia's threat to us is that she's here now, working 9 to 5, paying taxes, playing by the rules, keeping her home, raising her child, speaking English, speaking Spanish, in every way, every day, showing us the face of complexity. The complexity of the orientation, the character and culture of the 21st century American person. 100 years ago, she was Italian, Russian, a Jew from anywhere in Eastern Europe. 150 years ago, she was Chinese, Irish, German, Swedish, and Norwegian. And now, of course, she is a supporting character in the great drama of the so-called war on terror, a so-called alien. She is a real and present danger to the so-called homeland. The poem we heard earlier about the Muslim woman flying into New York City was written in 1992. Fear has been a force since long before the war in Iraq or the establishment of U.S. Patriot Act or the Military Commissions Act, which sanctions secret prisons, or the Office of Homeland Security, or the dismissal of all those attorneys last year, or the shredding of torture documents. Majal Kaf's collection is called Emails from Sweatshirt. I knew I was going to butcher that. She has another poem called Hijab, Scene 7, written in 1995. No, I am not bald under the scarf. No, I'm not from that country where women can't drive cars. No, I would not like to defect. I'm already an American. But thank you for offering. What else do you need to know relevant to my buying insurance, opening a bank account, reserve a seat on a flight? Yes, I speak English. Yes, I carry explosives. They're called words. And if you don't get up from your assumptions, they're going to blow you away. One of the assumptions with which I struggle always is the notion that I can be citizen without being a vigilant patriot. That because I'm unlikely to be deported or detained offshore, I can leave the hard questions and the hard work to someone else, subcontracting out my share of the work of democracy. But I know this is not true. We come from a long line of heretics who have professed many beliefs, blasphemous and orthodox, all about knowing all kinds of things, both sacred and profane. The freedom to speak whatever the speech, the freedom to believe whatever the belief, is the heart of the matter for us. In centuries past, Unitarian Universalists were burned at the stake. They were tortured in dungeons. Their books were burned. Their churches destroyed. Their livelihoods ruined for holding true to their truths, for refusing to recant, refusing to comply with governments or bishops or mobs. In defense of the free mind, heart, spirit, soul, community, they died in Prague, Geneva, Krakow, London, Dachau, Selma. We come from a long line of dissenters and descendants who died for this faith, and from others who survived, like the ones who wrote that organizing statement in New England. Respecting in each other and in all the right of intellect and conscience to be free, we set up no theological conditions of membership. No ID cards, no pledge of allegiance to any creed, no defense, no fences for the spirit, and recognizing the brotherhood of the human race, they wrote. And equally of human rights, we make no distinction as to the conditions and rights of membership in the society on account of sex or color or nationality. That was written in 1863 at the height of the Civil War, and through that particular church was in the North. Not everyone in the neighborhood was prepared to go that far. Most citizens and congregations were not prepared to go that far, especially when it was not yet clear which side would win the war. To the Unitarians, that didn't matter. The congregation welcomed slaves, women, heretics, and true believers, anyone who had an honest aim to make the search for truth the rule of life. What mattered was freedom and conscience. How far do we need to be prepared to go? What matters now? To us, the descendants and inheritors of such a noble legacy? In 1998, Mahaj Kaf wrote a poem after 120 people were killed in a movie theater and a small adjacent mosque in Algiers. This is part of the last verse. I am a disbeliever in everything but the purity of the bodies of the men and women, with or without the veil, with or without the markings of right identity. I am a disbeliever in everything but the suppleness of children. I am a disbeliever in every scripture in the world that leaves out, how was the movie? I love you. I love you. Blessed be, and amen. If you will join me in singing hymn 159, This Is My Song. Rise as you are comfortable and able. Arise, if you will, for the benediction. Whatever we variously believe, we are disbelievers in anything but the basic humanity of everyone, the belonging of everyone. We are believers in the responsibility of everyone, of all of us, each of us, no matter how frightened we are in these frightening times, to be something other than afraid. Go in peace and be unafraid.
Beyond all favor, I was spread the cover of mercy over me. A moment of changing. I was not what I